Okay, guys, serious question for people living outside of Canada and looking from Canada from the outside, and people in Canada looking at it from the inside. Very serious question. When China invades Taiwan, what side will Canada take? Would Canada take the side of the United States that's already been saying that they're going to defend Taiwan? Or will Canada take the side of China? Now, I believe, this is what I believe, that the Canadian administration will side with China. But the Canadian people, the conservative small business owners and stuff in Canada, or, families, majority of them will vote to side with the United States, right? I'm for America and I'm for, the Constitution and all that stuff. 1 quadrillion%, right? So now here's the deal we're facing here. Now, this is a very sensitive topic. So what I did was, I did a prequel to this. So let's take a look at a graph that I put up for you guys to vote. Now, we got over 200 votes on it here on the community section, okay? Okay, so this is important. So it starts with okay. Okay, if China invades Taiwan and the U.S. steps in to protect Taiwan, which side will the Canadian government take? I personally think the Canadian administration will side with China, but conservative Canadian family will choose the United States. So now look how close this is. See, look how close this is. Wow. So let's move on. So we've been talking about China. So we've made a lot of bold predictions on China and a lot of stuff happening with fentanyl and the money laundering and all this stuff, buying up homes and disenfranchising Canadians or Americans in blue states and all kinds of New Zealand and whatever. So this is a video we made 5 years ago. Was actually streamed. Chinese takeover of Canada and Australia and New Zealand. Lastly, the USA by 2024. The Chinese takeover of Canada and Australia and New Zealand. And lastly, USA by 2024. It starts with the real estate affordability, then farms and mines, then other jobs. So there it is right there. We've been talking about this. China is set to buy up the world, and in a frantic pace as the country starts to crumble. So Chinese investors or people in China want to get their capital off. So this is something we've been talking about for years here on the channel, right? I like this picture. Look at that with Cobra Commander. China to take over U.S. petrodollar and more things. And we discussed here on the channel how basically China was selling U.S. treasuries to buy gold and other assets and stuff like that. And that's been a buildup now, I guess, since 2014. So let's take a look at what's happening now with this situation and see how this is going to reflect or how this is going to... Let's take a look. All right, so let's move on. So now, what has Canada... China wades into Canada election. China may have tried to discourage Canadians from voting. Conservatives says federal units. That's the CTV. That's our actual, like our CNN in Canada, the fake news. They're actually reporting like what's really happening. So there's a lot. Federal Research Unit detected that what might be Chinese Communist Party information. So it means it's happening when they're saying it might be, because obviously when they tell you what it is, it's fake. But when they tell you that there's something happening or maybe happening, they're telling you the truth. That's just how media works. And Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. Canada opened its doors to foreign investing and predominantly people bringing their capital over from China and parking it into Canadian real estate. And basically, we talked about this many times on the channel, money laundering by province and how much laundered across Canada in the last 5 years. And these are not Canadians laundering money. These are foreign investors coming in and getting their capital off their shores. Okay, Chinese government still allowed to buy up Canadian firms in fury. That's got to change. So there it is right there. They're buying up everything. Now, Taiwan denounces China's peaceful reunification pledge. That's Canadian news again. Getting the war drums beating. And we talked about this. A Biden win, say hello to California. Housing out of reach, double-digit inflation ahead. And that was back in November 4th, 2020. Never, ever go off what they tell you here because it's not right with the date. So there it is. A Biden win, say hello to California. Housing out of reach. So what do we say here? Let me crank this up right here. Very important. Very important. First thing, Taiwan. Bye-bye, Taiwan. Goodbye, Taiwan. Taiwan will be taken over by China. What's going to happen in Australia? Well, so we went over this. What was going to happen with a Biden win or selection? These people are selected, not elected. We said that way back during the elections in Europe back in 2017 and 18 when we were starting to predict who was going to win, even though nobody voted for those people. So it's going way back. So, anyways, what is happening? Well, I want to know from you guys. I truly want to know from you guys. What is going to happen? Who is Canada going to side with? I believe the Canadian administration, because there's so much Chinese influence in Canada, and like the buying up of corporations, companies, mines, gold mines, and all kinds, our housing, infrastructure, and what do you guys think? Do you think the Canadian government is going to side with America, or they're going to side with China? That's the question I want to ask. So I put that poll up a few days ago for people to go ahead and vote to kind of see kind of the sentiment of feeling what people are thinking. I believe, again, the governments will side on China's side on this one. And because the Canadian government just loves the way China does things. And unfortunately, what happens to the people that built the infrastructure on the ground that came from Europe? Canada, 95% of Canada is all European expansion. There's a funny story. If you're still watching, thanks for watching. But there's a funny story where I did a live stream for you guys a few weeks back, and I said that this area that I'm in was Dutch, Swiss, or settlers that came in from Europe that came in to build this area. And it's, European expansion. When I was a kid, the Portuguese, the Italians, the Greeks, all those guys built Toronto back in the 80s, right? And then a lot of Portuguese were deported because Canada didn't want Portuguese, right? So, anyways, what happened was the lady came back to my store and said, "You're misinforming people on your live stream." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You were talking about the Dutch farmers and the people from Sweden or Denmark or whatever that came to build this area. That's not Europe. And I'm like, what? That is Europe. Yes, no, that's not Europe. That's not part of Europe. The Europeans didn't build most of Canada. It was other continents that came here. I'm like, okay. So going forward, look at the construction that's been built for the last 7-8 years. Now that Europeans are no longer in the trade here in the West. Well, a lot of them don't want to come here anymore. But do you see where I'm going with this, right? I guess people are just programmed a certain way, and there's no way of changing, not changing people's minds, but waking people up to see the bigger scope of things. So I don't want to get too far off topic. What do you guys think is going to happen? Would Canada side with China, or would Canada side with the United States? Right? I've prayed and begged for an American, if America gets itself straightened out down south and its country back in line, I pray that we get some sort of an American style country here where we could be free and I lived in the States for years, and it was just, I'm thinking, wow, if I did this in Canada, I would, not illegal things, but just things like, wow, I couldn't do this in Canada. Wow, I'm digging for a well without a are you sure I don't need a permit? No, you're digging a well on your land. It's like there's a lot of things, right? So it just amounts to, and protectionisms here in Canada is out of control. Our 2 airlines, our 2 internet companies, our 2 this. We're not allowed to bring in companies to help us to deflate the inflation, right? They won't do it. They won't allow competition, right? Anyways, I'm rambling on too much off topic. What do you guys think in the comments? I look forward to reading your comments. Mike Martin's here. Come down and visit me anytime. I have spoken.